I get the stream set up on my end. Got to dial a couple things in. There I am. Let's mute myself. See if we can get this camera set up. Nope, wrong direction. All right, all right. Guys, if there's anyone out there watching, leave something in the chat. Let me know. Sometimes it likes to not connect, and I think I'm live and I'm not, and it just gets all weird and confusing. I'm going to drop a link in the Discord. Let those guys know we're live. Oh, what's up? I see Richard McCoy. What's cooking, my man? What is cooking? How are the levels? Is the mic working? I remember one time I streamed and the mic wasn't even connected, man. I felt like such an idiot. 1 second, guys. I'm just dropped this link in the Discord. I feel like my chair's in a weird position. Worry about that later. Let's see. I got this super weird stool, guys. It's like a horse's saddle, right? It's supposed to like give you good posture and like you isolate your core while you're sitting on it. Like there's no back. It's just like this saddle piece and I can like wobble on it. It's really interesting stuff. All right, let me pop out this chat. Sure, we're gonna get some questions in here in a second. Oh, I see some coming through already. No, wrong window. Sorry, guys, I'm almost ready. I promise. Get one more window open here in case I need to Google some obscure product someone tells me about. Let me angle this. You guys got a nice view of my palm. I think that's looking good enough. That's looking good enough. All right. Dick McCoy says, "What's up?" Oh, Richard. Sorry, that's your name on YouTube is Richard. What's up, man? Dragnet Sound Waves. What's up, man? JMD08, you're live. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sounds good. Thank you. Thank you for the feedback. Mac, hey, man. What's up, Mac? All right. Everyone's saying the levels are good. All right. All right. Richard says, you said was cooking craft dinner for my daughter, actually. Hey, man. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. I try to eat super clean for the most part, but I'm not going to act like I don't enjoy a good down and dirty Kraft mac and cheese from time to time. Ace of Spades, what's up, man? Another longtime subscriber. Love seeing that. Love seeing that. So until the questions come in, I'm going to rant a little bit. And feel free to leave feedback if you got feedback for me. But guys, I feel like a lot of people still don't understand how important the size of a subwoofer is. Time and time again, I'll review a subwoofer and someone will ask how it compares to a model that is substantially different in size. You know, I'll give you an example. I could review a 12-inch and people ask how it compares to the SVS SB17. I could review a big sub like the Rhythmic F18. People ask me how it compares to like a KEF KC92, you know, little sub, right? And I'm not sure what the disconnect is that people are experiencing, right? That's almost like saying like, hey, like that's a nice Ford Raptor. How's the towing compared to a Ford F350 diesel? Like they're like almost completely different products at that point, and I just don't get it, you know? I even made a dedicated video to kind of like illustrate how like, hey man, size plays a role here, guys. We can't just be comparing these substantially different sized products, but people still ask me those questions like crazy. Yeah, just drop your 2 cents in the chat if you think you got an idea on why that happens so damn much. But All right, I got a question from Serge. Nemo, what it do? Been interested in REL. I have a SB 4000 now, and my room has some bass issues. Working with customer service, getting them dialed. DSP is great. Would it be a back step with rep with no DSP? I think maybe you did what I do sometimes and you typed the wrong word. So now the last part of the sentence or the question doesn't make any sense. Would it be a back step with rep with no DSP? Serge, yeah, I think you messed up the sentence, bro. I'm not sure what you're saying there. Retype the question, bro, and I'll answer it. Ace of Spades says, I feel like for subs, most people just judge based on excursion, SPL, and how deep it hits rather than speed, tone, and musicality. Like, yeah, I can see that, but that still doesn't explain why people ask me how if I review a 10 or a 12, they're like, oh, how does it compare to this thing that's like 6 times the size, 4 times the price, and like 8 times, not 8 times, but like triple the weight, I'll review a little 50-pound sub and people ask me how it stacks up against like a 150-pound behemoth, It's crazy. Max says, mainly because they need validation for previous purchases. You know what, dude? I think you're onto something, bro, because I just got that question, and I'm not trying to call this guy out, but I just reviewed the Carbon Special, and this guy's like, how does it compare to the SB17? And I was just like, I kind of was like mean to him. I'm like, why are you even asking me, man? And turns out, as you suggested, he had just ordered an SB17. And what I told him is like, hey, man, like you already bought it. Just get it set up. See how you like it, man. See how you like it. Who cares what I think? I haven't even heard the SB17, right? One second. This is too high. Yeah, that's better. We had a weird angle. Richard says, how's the towing on the Cybertruck KC62 versus the Peterbilt JTR24? Yeah, And look, the Cybertruck can actually tow. A lot of electric cars can, they can tow. They got a lot of torque, but what a lot of people don't realize is if you're towing in an electric vehicle, whether it be a Model X, a Cybertruck, or the Ford F-150 Lightning, you got about an hour of battery. That battery starts to drain really quick, and then you got to stop at a charging station with your trailer, and charging stations are not designed to have trucks with attached trailers. It's a nightmare. There's videos of people that have tried it, and it's just, if you tow, you need a diesel. It's that simple. Everyone's idle Goro, REL Carbon Special, or Honda Civic. Yeah, guys, I get questions like that. Like, shit, that doesn't even make sense. And I'm like, what is happening? Why are you asking me this? I don't mean to sound ungrateful. It's nice that people care about my opinion. Don't get me wrong. But I'm like, sometimes I'm like, dude, like, watch some of my other videos. I cover this stuff. I'm sorry, guys. My OCD's kicking in. I feel like the camera's a little crooked. And this stand doesn't really have much adjustment, but it's gonna have to be good enough. That is gonna have to be good enough. Where did we leave off? Victor Chu says, I have a T9X right now. Does it make sense to upgrade to a T9X Special Edition or S510 for SQ? Victor Chu, do me a favor, drop your room dimensions in the chat. Please use imperial units so I don't have to use a unit converter, and I will happily answer your question. But generally speaking, if someone is a T9X owner, yes, the red special edition T9X is a little better, but I would not suggest you ditch your, I'm still fiddling with the camera, I can't stop. I wouldn't suggest anyone ditch their T9X that they have currently just to get the red one, because the regular T9X is also absolutely phenomenal, and the difference isn't that big where you should ditch your white or black T9X simply for the red one. I think a great customer for the red T9X is someone who's like, I love the red finish, And I also heard it pushes the design to its limit just a little bit more. I'm willing to pay the extra money for the aesthetic upgrade. And you know, those slight nuanced differences in sound quality are just an added bonus. That's what I think the proper framing should be for someone who buys a Red T9X. Godinez says, "Hi Nemo. There is no more information about the Heko Salon Revolution 3 on the official Heko website. Maybe the successor is on the way." I don't know, man. It's been discontinued for a long time, bro. My understanding, what happened there is, you know, Klipsch was essentially Heko USA. I don't know if it was a distribution deal or what, but Klipsch handled Heko USA, and then Audio Advice bought it from them. And then, you know, it was a fire sale, and it was killer deals on them. Anyone who bought a pair of Salon Revolution 3s for $11.49 got a hell of a deal. And that was it. I don't know if Heko has a future in the United States or not. I know there's still a company back home in their home country. I don't know if they'll be branching out to the United States again because it didn't work the last time, right? It didn't work for them. So great speakers though. I love them. I'd love to see them with some US distribution. I'm going to raise my seat height, guys. Give me a second. Watch. In like 20 minutes or 10 minutes, I'm going to complain my seat's too high and I'm going to adjust it again. Hold on. I should have cleaned my glasses. Look, my eyes look all beady because you're used to seeing me with glasses. I'm never prepared for these things, guys. I was looking through my glasses and they were just like spotty as hell. It was pissing me off. All right. David Kosman says, spot on with your EV towing analysis. Yeah, man. Yeah, I got a lot of friends that tow a lot of stuff. So YouTube algorithm loves to send me towing videos, even though I don't search the stuff myself. Victor Chu says, thanks. Love all your rel reviews. Thanks, Victor. I appreciate you. Max says, what's the largest sub you've reviewed? Still puzzled that you haven't reviewed the new 17-inch SVS. Why? You shouldn't be puzzled, Mac. Countless times I've said I don't review subwoofers over 100 pounds. That's just not something I'm interested in doing. You guys got to remember, like, when you guys buy these products, you just take them out of the box. When I review the product, I got to take it out of the box. And then like 30 to 60 days later, I got to put it back in the box. And then I got to put it back in my car. And then I got to take it to the shipping company and carry it in and return it. It's a nightmare. Oh my goodness. Look, I'll be 42 in May. I'm not trying to carry around 150-pound subwoofers. No, thank you. I will not be reviewing the SVS SB17. No, sir. No, sir. I don't review subwoofers that big. But to answer your question, the largest subwoofer I've reviewed in terms of just physical volume and the overall package is the RSL Speedwoofer 12S. That's a big sub. Volumetrically, I believe it's actually larger than the SB17. Also, you got to remember, all my subwoofer reviews are with respect to their performance for 2-channel music. I'm not a theater guy. I'm not assessing subwoofer performance for theater. So I don't have much desire to get these like behemoth subwoofers like the JL Audio F212 that weighs like 265 pounds, or that new one from RBH that Shane Lee reviewed. I think it's 365 pounds once it's loaded down with its sandbags and such. Like, there's just no purpose for me to review something like that unless you have a very large room or doing something really niche. Music systems rarely call for such substantial output or you know, single digit extension. Dick Trickle says, what's up, bro? That's a hell of a screen name. Love that. Love that. Victor Chu says, by the way, my room size is just about the same as your living room behind you. Series S, so that's a small room behind me, right? I think we can all agree on that. That's a small room, right? If we look at where the carpet is and, to the seating area, look, let me just get out of the frame. So that's a small room. Okay. If your room is that size, that's small. Series S, hold on, let me get back on my weird saddle chair. Series S is not designed for small rooms. While the S510 is a big step up over the T9X in terms of just all things bass fidelity, it is not designed for a small room. You may not be able to turn it down low enough. You may find the T9X extending lower in a small room. Now, in a medium room and up, that's where you're going to see what S510 or Series S in general is really capable of. But Series S is not for a small, boxy shaped room like what's behind me. S510 is not for that. That's definitely where Series TX is going to sound better, or Series HT. So if I were you, I would just get a second T9X. Hope that helps. Dick Trickle says, what do you think about Bose getting Macintosh? No opinion, honestly. Yeah, no opinion. I don't think Bose is a bad company. I think they've done a lot for the hi-fi space. I think they've gotten a lot of people into hi-fi. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people's entry into hi-fi might have been through way of Bose in the early 90s with those little cube speakers, got their willy wet to begin with that way. Feliciano says, hey there, Nemo. What's up, my man? Mac deleted a message. Richard says, what's one product that really has your interest that you'd love to review? Let me think about it. I'll be honest, I'm not sure there is one. There's stuff I'd love to review, but I can't, right? Like, I'd love to review a Rel Carbon Special 6-pack, but my room's too small. I'd love to check out some of those like behemoth 200 plus pound subwoofers, but I'm just not willing to do what it takes to do that. I'd love to be able to explore those like large, super high end, crazy setups. But the only way I could do that is if like the company flew someone out to set it all up for me. Cause I just like my YouTube channel is a side project. I don't have the time. I'm not willing to risk my body moving extremely heavy objects like that. It just doesn't make sense for me. But I guess that's one thing that I would love to do. If there was some way for it to just, I didn't have to do the work, right? Moondragon coming through with the super chat. Thank you, brother. I appreciate the super chat. Is SVS 1000 Pro a good subwoofer to start? I think so. I've reviewed a lot of SVS subwoofers. The 1000 Pro is actually my favorite. I think it integrates the best. I think it's the lightest on its feet. Believe it or not, it has more output than the Micro 3000. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people just look at the watts and think, man, the Micro is more expensive. The Micro has almost 3 times the watts. The Micro is like the better subwoofer. No, the Micro is very small. The 1000 Pro is actually better than the Micro. I think that's a great place to start. I'm not sure what the rest of your system is. If you want to drop that in the chat, I'll let you know if I think whatever speakers you have will match with the 1000 Pro, but I think the 1000 Pro is a lot of people's entry into subwoofers, especially if you've got a mixed system where you're like, hey, I need like decent output and stuff like that for theater and stuff like that. Just keep in mind, the 1000 Pro is still not that big. It's a pretty small subwoofer. So if you want like big theater output, the 1000 Pro is definitely better than not having a subwoofer at all. But it's a lot smaller than most people realize. Ben Gleason, what's up, man? He says, hey, Nemo, thank you for your help lately. Mouse farts, hashtag. LOL, that's funny. Ace of Spades says, if you had a bigger room, would you review more towers, or is the west of the bookshelf so much better that you prefer? Huh? Ace of Spades says, if you had a bigger room, would you review more towers, or is the west of the bookshelves so much better that you prefer better looks over a full range experience. You did the same thing I do. You type faster than you probably think, and you put extra words and used wrong words. I do that all the time. If anyone's in my Discord, you'll see I type like a psychopath. Um, looks. That the looks of the bookshelf are some. Yeah. I think I'd probably be more likely to review some towers. But I certainly would not shift to primarily focusing towers. I think I'd still probably be reviewing about 85% bookshelf speakers, and maybe 10 to 15% of the time, maybe check out a tower if I was really curious about it. I'm just not interested in towers. I think a bookshelf speaker on a stand is much more beautiful. So Moondragon saying he has the Acoustic Energy 100. They go down to around 45 hertz. Yeah, I'm not familiar with either of those products, unfortunately. Like I know of them, but I haven't heard them. I think if you're putting together a mixed system and you're looking for some extra bass, a 1000 Pro is a great option, you know? JMD says thoughts on Sue Research. Don't recall seeing a review of yours on a Sue sub. JMD, you must be new to the channel, man. I've covered this a lot of times. Sue Research seems to not like me for one reason or another. They are 30 minutes down the road. I've called them 3 times. I have emailed them 3 times. And I've talked to people there like, hey, I'm a local reviewer. I'm just 30 minutes down the road. I'd love to swing by, pick up a subwoofer. You don't even have to pay shipping on it. Let me hold it for 30, 60 days. I'll make a nice review for you guys on YouTube. And then I'll bring it back when I'm done with it. It'll literally cost you nothing. And I got no respect. I got no communication. I got ghosted all 6 times I reached out to them. So like I'm at the point where even if Sue Research came to me today, fuck them. Like for real, you know what I mean? Like my time is valuable just like anyone else's time is valuable. And I think ghosting someone is pretty disrespectful, man. Like they could have simply said, hey man, we'd love to work with you. We try to work on channels that generate a few more views than what you're currently getting. Do you mind reaching back out to us in like 6 months? We'll see where the channel's at and something like that. Or they could have just said like, hey, we're not looking for additional reviews at this time. And that would have been just fine, right? But to just ignore me all 6 times, it's kind of unprofessional in my opinion. But they have the right to do what they want to do. So whatever. I have heard Sue subwoofers. I don't think they're anything like remarkable. I know a lot of people that have owned Sue subwoofers and upgraded to other things, and everyone says the same thing. They think they're great for their price category, but they're not giant killers by any means. They certainly are not without their complaints. But for the price you're paying for like a good size subwoofer, it's a fair purchase, is what most owners have said to me. Ben says, what do you have coming up for reviews? Dyne Audio Emit 20, absolute performer. Oh my God, for $1,050, I can't believe the Dyne Audio Emit 20 isn't talked about more. It is fantastic. I love it. It's a lot like the Hecko Salon Revolution 3, honestly, in a lot of ways, and that's why I love it so much. Also, the ATC SEM 19. Both of those reviews are already filmed and they are edited already and have been uploaded to YouTube and will release this coming Saturday and the following Saturday. After that, I don't have any videos that are already recorded, but I am working on an ELAC subwoofer. I believe it's called the RS700. I also have the new live UDAC, the smaller one that's a lot more affordable. I think it's like $994 or so. I haven't even taken that out of the box yet. Introducing electronics into my system, the timing really has to be right. What else do I have in for review? Let me check my review list. I don't really keep it updated much, but that might be it. Oh, I have the Vinshine Kinky Studio collaboration power conditioner. I'm going to review that, and that's a winner of a product. Honestly, guys, I'm going to say this one time. If a product is listed on Vinshine Audio's website, it's a winner. It's an absolute winner. Alvin, the owner of Vinshine Audio, the distribution company, he has good taste, man. Oh my God, the man has such good taste. Every Vinshine product I've ever heard or reviewed has been an absolute champion for its price category and just such a winner. So I'm not surprised his power conditioner is also outstanding. But yeah, those are the few products. Oh, also, I just got my review sample of the Emotiva XB1 bookshelf speaker. Yes, Nemo Propaganda has not forgotten about the few budget gems that may exist. If there's a budget gem out there and I think it's worth my time, I'll look into it. And so far, that little XB1, I think it's like $369. It's a performer. It is a performer. Look, it's not going to compete with a $2,000 speaker, but what it does for $369, pretty damn good. I've been listening to it for about 4 days now with the ELAC subwoofer. It's a good combination. Max says, have you heard any rumors about the SB3000 replacement? No, I haven't. I'd imagine that like SVS right now, and this could have already happened. I don't know. I don't really stay super up to date, but they rolled out the SB on PB17s. And the room correction feature wasn't live yet. So if it's live already, never mind. But I'd imagine they're working on getting that room correction live. And once they do that, I'd imagine that's going to trickle down the range. I don't know what order they'll do it in, but last time they trickled down tech, it was the cell phone app, and they trickled it down just in order of series. So I don't know if they're going to continue with the 4000 series, because I believe the 3000 series outsells it quite a bit. So I'd be curious, but I'd imagine the SB3000 would launch sometime after their auto calibration feature is live and working really well on the Ultra series. That's just me guessing. Hold on. You guys know what time it is. It's time for the drink. This is a different one. This is not the Waterloo. This is going to be the LaCroix. I don't know how the hell you say that. Pastique. It's a fancy way of saying watermelon. This is one of my favorite flavors. Let me take a sip before I get back to the comments. And if anyone knows anyone at LaCroix, if they want to sponsor me and give me some free drinks, I will plug their drink. I'm not above that. That is refreshing. Svalbard, what's up, brother? Longtime subscriber. He says, happy Sunday, Streamo. Hey, is the totem bison versus how is the totem bison versus Fritz Carbon? I'm guessing you meant to say, how is it? Priority is realistic mid-range, minimum listening fatigue, and imaging magic. So that's a weird combination for a comparison, because there's a big size difference. Totem is all about giving you a really narrow front baffle, but a really big sound. And they accomplish that really nice. Speakers are made by one guy. That means you're not going to have a perfect fit and finish the way you will by like a major brand, right? Everyone I know that's bought a Fritz speaker has had a little complaint of like, hey, the finish isn't quite perfect, or the veneer isn't quite perfect. And that's just how it's going to be when it's one guy doing everything. It's not poor build quality by any means, but some of us audiophiles are absolute sticklers for fit and finish. And if you are, just get the totem, okay? Just get the totem. With that out of the way, realism is a tough one, like realistic mid-range, because realism means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. The Totem Bison's treble energy is a lot more forward. So, depending on your amplification, it could be too much of a good thing. Excuse me. If your amplification is refined, it should be fine. It should sound excellent, but it is on the forward side of neutral quite a bit more than the Fritz Carbon. So if you don't like energetic treble, you're not going to like the Totem Bison. The Fritz Carbon 7 puts a little bit of a magnifying glass on the mid-range region, much like the ATC SCM19 or the Zoo DWX. It is really trying to show you that mid-range. I think the Fritz Carbon is going to be more up your alley, but again, it is tough to answer the question of realism because it just means different things to different people. Both image really well. The Totem Bison is a smidgen more holographic, but I think the Fritz Carbon is more up your alley. Matthew Wright says, I have ported mains and use ported subs. Great combination. Yeah, I don't think it matters necessarily, but I like vented subs a lot. You know, they're fun. They have that exaggerated thick low end. Unfortunately, a lot of them are pretty sloppy, so they're not the best for critical music listening. But if you're just trying to have like good, thick, strong, powerful bass, it's hard to beat a big vented sub. All right, I got you. I got you. Michael Campbell, do you think E50, so the Bucard E50, would work well in a 19 by 13 room? Yes, I think so. Yeah, absolutely. Bucard's own listening room is actually fairly large, and that's how they test most of their speakers, so absolutely no problem. Or would I recommend something else? Seeing your Supermon Mini in your small room has me curious. Oh, right there? My Supermon Mini? Look, the Supermon Mini cannot compete with the Bucard E50 at all. The Supermon Mini is a tiny, 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 tiny speaker. It's a niche speaker. It's amazing in a lot of ways. Its mid-range and treble resolution are ungodly and absolutely compete with $10,000 speakers, but you sacrifice a lot of things to get that. Primarily bass and body in the mid-range. They will always sound thin in the mid-range no matter what, but they would be, the Supermon Mini would be great for like an intimate, more like office setup. Like maybe for the guy who's got like a $50,000 main rig and he's like, in my office, I need that same level of quality in a smaller size. And I know I'm going to give up a lot of bass because I want this tiny, beautiful niche speaker. Then that guy's going to love the Supermon Mini. But I'm not sure it's the right choice for most people with bigger rooms as a primary left and right pair, unless you just want to play some light background music for parties or something like that. Matthew Wright says, I have the Dynaudio EMIT 50s. They sound great, but need a lot of current. Yeah, it's a bass monster of a speaker, Matthew. All Dynaudio speakers are bass monsters. Bass sucks up wattage quickly. I am not surprised. Any speaker that is a bass monster is going to need some current. DR says, EMIT versus Evoke. Is it mainly cosmetic? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. EMIT and Evoke couldn't be voiced more different. Just to be clear, I've only heard the Evoke 20. I have not heard the Evoke 10. I have heard the EMIT 10 and 20. EMIT is the one I prefer, actually. Evoke 20 is supremely warm, extremely warm from top to bottom, lush, warm, rich, juicy, so on and so forth. And you're going to give up a little bit of separation in the mid-range for that. You're going to give up a little bit of resolution in the high frequencies for that. It is super warm. I personally don't love super warm speakers. That's not for my taste. But if you like that feeling where you're almost like inside an acoustic guitar, you're going to love the Evokes. EMIT is totally different. EMIT is like more about like air, space, separation. It's still warm, but nowhere near as warm. It sounds more expansive to my ears, especially in the mid-range, because a super warm speaker feels like it's hugging you. A less warm or more analytical speaker sounds more expansive, more like it's pushing out. EMIT gets my vote personally, but again, I don't love super warm speakers. Both have supremely powerful bass. Both have very good high quality treble. The EMIT is just going to be on the more forward side of neutral, where the Evoke is going to be on the dark side of neutral, right? And just the EMIT is the one that's for me personally. My EMIT review will be out probably in 2 weeks for the EMIT 20. RMZ Dan says, I have a pair of Heco Salon Revolution 3 in dark oak veneer. Great speakers, but I'm trying to upgrade the crossover. That's just a statement. There's no question in there. I don't know what to say about that, but great speaker. I love that speaker. It's fantastic. Doesn't have the biggest sound stage, but otherwise fantastic. JL says, I'm digging my RSL 12S since early January. Thanks for helping me with the purchase decision. Yeah, man, that RSL 12S is a freaking monster and plays shockingly tight and quick for being a giant vented sub. It is very, very impressive what that thing gives you for $800. That's a product I still miss. It was way too big to look aesthetically pleasing in my room, but oh my God, that effortlessness in the low end, that force, I can never forget that. I always miss that. There's just something giant subs bring to the table that smaller ones just can't. JMD says, regarding Sue, sucks to hear. Never heard them, only read about them. Was wondering, that's my question. I do follow your channel, just have not caught previous commentary on Sue. Appreciate your reviews. Yeah, no problem, bro. No problem. I get it. It's hard to remember like literally everything I've said, but yeah, I've tried to work with Sue. Some companies are just like that. Some companies, I think they might look at like my kind of low quality content. I kind of look like a kid on camera. They don't realize I'm in my 40s. They maybe think I'm just trying to get some free shit. Who knows, man? Who knows? You know what their problem is, but I don't care. I get a little salty about it. I'm not gonna lie, but Ace of Spades, for your value preference, for your preference, expanding your budget for a pair of subs from 1,000 to 2,000 or bookshelves by the same amount. I don't understand the question, bro. You're asking to just, I appreciate you making it clear that this is a value question, but you're asking for my personal value. Ace of Spades, you're paying attention because I've said it many times, guys, value is super personal. It is so personal, right? And I'm happy to share my personal value opinion, but that doesn't mean it's yours, right? I think you're asking me, I'm not sure if you're asking me about subs or if more money should go to subs or bookshelf speakers, bro. Can you clarify? And I'll answer it. Stefan? Is that Stefan or Stefane? I've never seen it spelled like that. Says RSL 12S to me is insane value for the price. It's a true 20 hertz. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I strongly agree with you on that, man. I strongly agree. Guys, if space is not a concern and you've got a mixed system and you want big output on a budget and you still want some tightness, some good controlled bass, that RSL 12S is a monster. Max says, I know this has been asked many times before, but here goes. FM8 review question mark. No, I talked to Rhythmic about the FM8 and what they kind of told me is like, the FM8's a great sub. It is loved by everyone who's ever bought it, but sells in very low quantities. It's one of their most niche products, and they're not sure they're going to continue its production once remaining units are sold out. It's fantastic. It has no issues. No one ever complains about it. The reason it sells slow is because most customers would rather have the added output of the F12 SE instead. So most customers are between the FM8 or the F12. The F12 a little bit cheaper, and it's gonna give you more output. It is, you know, it's got a bigger driver. It's gonna sound more effortless, right? So that the FM8 is a little too niche of a product, I think, is what Rhythmic thinks, and they felt a review. You know, they're like, hey, if we're not sure we're going to keep it in production once remaining units are gone, we don't think a review makes sense. And I really respected them for being honest with me about that. But they do still have inventory, you know. And again, anyone who's bought one has absolutely loved it. It's just most people opt for the F12 instead. Super chat from Joey the Dime. Thank you for all the great content. Thank you, Joey. I appreciate you. The super chat means a lot to me. 20 USD coming out with the big money. I appreciate it. I will probably use that to, I will either I'll be honest, anytime I get a super chat, I'll probably just regift it to another content creator. I love doing that, especially the smaller content creators. Sometimes I'll catch a live stream of someone I follow. It's got like maybe just like 3,000 or 5,000 subscribers. And I'll hit them with the super chat. It makes them happy, especially guys, we forget there's countries where the US dollar goes so much further. It goes so much further, man. And dropping like $20 for those guys makes their day. Or I might use that $20 to feed myself. We'll see. Maybe I'll get a sandwich tomorrow and I'll think of you, Joey. Thank you. Dragnet Sound says, would a DDC be a good upgrade? I think so, but it does depend on the rest of your system. If you've got a system that is mostly inexpensive, mostly on the warm side, mostly not detail focused, you may not have a system resolving enough to notice what a DDC upgrade can do. My system I'm not a resolution first customer, but you got to remember when I'm reviewing gear, you got to remember what I'm using. That's why the description box usually has all my gear listed. I'm using Kinky Studio monoblocks and preamp. That's fairly analytical, very resolving, very good products. I have a lot of speakers, right? For the DDC review, I was using the Live Harmony DAC. And the DDC was definitely a noticeable upgrade. It definitely was. I didn't have to listen critically or think about it. It was clear, it was noticeable, it was obvious. But I also have amplifiers that can convey that resolution and those differences. So I'm not sure it'll feel like as big of an upgrade if you're using something like an Iota VX SA3 or an Emotiva TA1 or like a $500 AVR, right? So these things depend on that kind of stuff. Oh, there's some good questions here. There are some good questions here. Yeah, I like these questions. Let me take another toot here. I like where this chat's going. People are asking about food. I'm a fat boy inside, guys. I'm a fat boy. Oh my God. If you go back, I've deleted most of my old videos, but if you could find a really old video of me that I haven't deleted, Nemo Propaganda's belly was like probably 8 inches more forward. I was so fat, I couldn't zip up an XL hoodie when I first started this channel. I love to eat. Oh my God. I'm a little bit of a chunky boy now, but I'm nowhere near as big as I was before. I'm 5'8", 5'9", and I was weighing about 265 pounds, guys, which is insane for that height. Now I'm still 5'8", 5'9", and I say that because I've measured myself many times. Sometimes I'm like 5'8" on the dot. Other times I'm 5'9" on the dot. All times without shoes. I don't know if it just depends how I slept or what or how hydrated I am, but now I'm clocking around 205, and I have a lot more muscle mass, and I'm really proud of that. All right. Here's a good question from Professor 5180. What's up, Nemo? I'm looking at 2 subwoofers for $2,000 a piece. 2 KEF KC92s or 2 Rel Predator 1510s. What does the Rel beat the KEF in since it's bigger? Great question. So the KC92, it's just kind of a updated name for the KF92. I believe it's got like 1 or 2 features that are slightly different or whatever, but great sub for anyone that needs a compact solution. You understand you're giving up maximum output for that compact solution. What KEF's been able to bring to the table is big subwoofer levels of extension, albeit at lower volumes. It could still get respectably loud, especially in a little room like mine. But if you've got a big room, you can find the limits of a KC92 if you really like to dig in the volume knob, especially in the big peaks that come with theater. And the KEF KC92 has an active DSP, meaning the more volume you demand from it, the more it's going to roll off those low frequency notes in order to play louder. So it's not going to be consistent, right? It actually has the most low frequency bass at low volumes, where the Predator 1510 doesn't even use a DSP. It's much more consistent. You got low frequency bass at low volumes and loud volumes. It's not rolling off anything. It's going to sound more effortless. You're going to have a much larger sense of scale, a much cleaner and resolute leading edge in the delivery of bass notes better note-to-note distinction, and a level of immediacy and attack that is lightning quick that very few subwoofers bring to the table. Like gunshots and tank fire on the Predator 1510 are just so immediate and with so much impact and snap to them. It's like it just like hits the chest and you're just like, whoa, it's an incredible sub. If space is not a constraint, I don't see any reason to get a pair of KC92s over a pair of 1510s. And that's pretty general advice I'd give most of the time when someone's considering a smaller versus a larger, right? Unless there are situations where sometimes the smaller is still the better, because not all large subs are fantastic. But in this situation, that's an easy choice, so long as you don't have a wife that's like, no, you cannot. The Predator's too big. If that's not a problem, you just get the pair of Predators. Thank me later. Ace of Spades says 2 choices. 1, a pair of bookies, 1,000 a pair. What the fuck? Bro, you're killing me here. You're killing me here. Let me try this. Okay. 2 choices. Choice 1, pair of bookies, 1,000 a pair, and a pair of subs for 2K. Or option 2, a pair of bookies for 2K and a pair of subs for 1K. Which do you tend to prefer given budget constraints? Okay, so you're asking me if it's better to spend more on subs than speakers. I'm kind of a bass head. I'm obsessive with bass. I believe bass sets the foundation for your sound system. And my ear can really pick up on tonal textures, note-to-note distinction. And I'm really sensitive to the bass region of music. I will always rather to have a cheaper speaker and a better subwoofer. Always. Always. That's me personally. Always. I would rather have a pair of Dynaudio EMIT-20s paired with like Rel Predator 1510. Why not, right? That's a $2,000 sub. Or a Rhythmic E15 HP2, right? Or what else? Rel S510. I'd rather have that than say, like a Kef R3 Meta, which is, more expensive than that Dynaudio EMIT-20. The R3 Meta is better, it is better in a lot of ways. I'd rather, and then the R3 Meta would say, there's some good $1,000 subs too, though, honestly, like a R3 Meta with the Rel 1205 Mark II. That'd be pretty epic still, So it kind of depends, right? I guess this is what it comes down to. As long as I could get a good subwoofer for whatever price constraint you're giving me, I'm not too worried about it. But yeah, if you need to spend more on a sub and it means you need to sacrifice your speaker budget a little bit, I guess what I'm saying is I support that. That's the best way I can say that. Richard McCoy, what's your favorite meatballs? Examples: authentic Italian with authentic Italian tomato sauce or authentic Swedish. Just made myself hungry. So authentic Italian is the answer with a but. But not all Italian restaurants are created equal. There's Italian restaurants where everything's made from scratch. Then yes, I prefer the Italian. But I guess I would say the same with the Swedish. So I'll take whichever one is made fresh, made from scratch, and the same with the sauce. The sauce is made there too. If that's how the restaurant makes it, that's the one I want. The pre-made or pre-prepped meatballs lose their flavor very quickly, in my opinion. They kind of have like a freezer burn experience where you have to put so much extra seasoning in them because some of it seems to die off as it just sits in the fridge for like 5 days at the restaurant because a lot of them prep. And it ends up tasting like artificially flavored, and I hate that. So I'm just going with whichever's the fresher option. Hold on, guys. Need beverage. This is a great cup, by the way, spill proof. This is a Brewmate. I don't know which one it is. My buddy's wife bought it for me, though, for Christmas. Absolutely love it. Oh, man. DR really triggered me with one word. He just said tacos. Oh my God. Oh my God. I love tacos. Love them. Both kinds, if you catch my drift. HJC says, my experience with the Emit versus Evoke was the opposite. What? I've only heard the Emit 30 and now the Evoke 30. I find the Emit 30 really lacking in mid-range detail and bass was a bit too boomy. I haven't heard the towers, so I don't want to speak on that too much. And just to be clear, I did specify specifically that I've only heard the Evoke 20. And the reason I said that specifically is because I've been told by many Evoke customers that the Evoke 20 specifically is the warmest of the Evoke range. The Dynaudio Emit 20 and Emit 10, their mid-range is a little bit recessed. It's not a deep V curve, but a little small V curve. So your assessment on the mid-range, I get what you're saying. But the Evoke 20 is so warm in the mid-range, even though the Emit 20 is a little bit recessed, it's still a little bit more open. The Evoke 30, that's a tower. It's got a different crossover, different drivers. That's, similar name, but totally different speaker, right? So you might be totally correct in your assessment. I don't know because I haven't heard the tower versus the tower. And again, I have had a lot of people tell me the rest of the Evoke range is nowhere near as warm as the 20. And then as far as the boominess of the Emit, yeah, look, it's a lower priced range. The cabinet's not going to be as robust, right? With great bass comes great responsibility, and sometimes it could be a little too much of a good thing. Dynaudio's bass is always a little more bloomy, and it can be uncontrolled in some rooms. It can. David Cosman says he's looking forward to the live UDAC review. Thank you, brother. So am I. HJC says the Evoke 30 had much better mid-range and bass control. I could see that. Damn, another super chat. Dragonnet Sound, $20, 20 Canadian. Thank you for the advice. Of course, man. I think this is the most super chats I've ever gotten, guys. That's really nice of you guys. Thank you. Matthew Wright says, I just went on Amazon for pens. Oh, you guys are making me hungry. Oh my God, you guys are making me hungry. Stop it. Guys, you don't understand. When I say I have the heart of a very fat man inside of me, I'm not joking. If you ever eat with me, oh my God. When I know I'm going to eat publicly, sometimes I pregame. I'll eat a little bit at home before so that the fat bastard inside of me doesn't come out in public. Some of my friends say I have an eating disorder. They might be right. I don't know. Richard McCoy says he 100% agrees to go with the better sub. If you got to reduce your speaker budget to get a better sub, Richard McCoy thinks that's also the right choice. Yeah, that's what I think. DR says Bucard S400 Mark II, no good for desktop. Do they need volume to shine? I think you're asking me if they're good for desktop. I can't answer desktop question, guys. I don't have a desktop. I don't do near field. I'd imagine a desktop user would want a smaller speaker, but I've seen people use the S400 in a desktop situation. I don't know what it sounds like. I don't have any near field setup. If you notice, I'm live streaming from my kitchen island. That's what I have an open concept home. I don't have an office with a desk. I don't have anything like that. My kitchen island is where my laptop sits, God, any of my bearded brothers relate to that feeling where one of your mustache hairs feels like it's flipped up and tickling your nose? I hate that. That's why if you watch my reviews, you'll see me do stuff like this a lot. It's my mustache is tickling me. Ray Juarez with the $2 super chat. Thank you, brother. Thank you. 3,000. What's your go-to sub? Ray, I take product recommendations very seriously. I need more information out of you. Are you listening to music only? Are you doing theater only? How big is your room? I need to know. Give me those data points and I will give you my recommendation up to $3,000. No problem. Also, Ray, let me know what country you're in because not everything's available everywhere, okay? Oh my God, Ace of Spades is talking about Korean barbecue meatballs now. Oh my God. I just had the best Korean barbecue of my life the other day, too. Oh my God. Oh my God. You guys are killing me with the food. Irene Sorio says, hi, Nemo. What's up, Irene? Always happy to see you in the chat. Hope you're doing well. And you got good weather out there. Hey, man, Richard and Ace, y'all need to chill with the food. I swear, I'm getting really hungry. I'm getting hungry, man. Fletcher Munson says that I had the bison signatures, too lively for me. The Fritz are amazing, but I thought the tonality was not rich enough. Yeah, you're right, Fletcher. The Fritz mid range is not a tonally rich mid range. It's more about expansiveness and naturalness. Also, the noted cabinet issues led me to return them. Worth a listen. Yeah, yeah. They're going to be great for the right customer. You know, someone who's not too picky with fit and finish, someone who wants a little bit of a magnifying glass on the mid range and doesn't really want a lot of warmth in the mid range, but you want to speak with a lot of separation and a big sense of scale. Ray, I'm still waiting for you to give me an update on those questions. Again, I just need to know for your $3,000 subwoofer option, room size, what speakers you're matching it up to, if you're music only, theater only, or if you're half and half. Holler at me, okay? Oh, you don't have to keep super chatting, bro. I'm gonna read your comment no matter what, but I appreciate it. Let me get some of these other people, and I'll get to you. S. Borg says, I have CAF R5s and a Velodyne SPL 800, and they are actually very happy, but constantly thinking I've upgraded the 15-year-old sub, but do want small 10 by 10. You want a S. Born, you're saying you want a subwoofer that the cabinet is 10 by 10? This is extremely small. Clarify if that's what you mean. I'll give you a recommendation. I do have one in mind. The SPL 800 is a decent sub for the time, but it has no note-to-note distinction at all. I had that subwoofer. Every single frequency on the SPL 800 sounds the same. It just sounds like it's a different volume. It's a terrible sub for bass fidelity, but it does have decent speed, really powerful sound for being so small. If you need a 10 by 10 subwoofer, if that's really what you're saying, let me know and I will give you a recommendation. Ray Mundy, hello from Latvia. What's up, brother? Love seeing people from other countries. Love to see that. Middle Earth says beard wax is your friend. Sounds like you're using beard oil, no, I don't use beard oil. That stuff's disgusting. You take one phone call on your phone and it's all greasy. I don't use beard oil. I do use sometimes a leave-in beard like conditioner that looks kind of like hand lotion. I don't want to use wax. I don't like anything that feels slick. But yeah, I'll think about it. Thank you for the heads up, though. Okay, so Ray Juarez has answered us. 80% home theater, 20% music. He's in the USA. You're making it easy for me. I love that. Up to $3,000. Let me pull out a calculator. 1 second. My computer loves to bring up a calculator, but it doesn't load. So 3,000. Ray, if you can go dual subs, let me look at some pricing. And I hope you can handle big subs because I'm going to recommend big subs. If they're too big, let me know. I'll recommend smaller ones. Yeah, I'm going to recommend a pair of Rhythmic FVX12s. Pair of Rhythmic FVX12. If that's too big, pair of Rhythmic E15 HP2s. Actually, no, that's over budget. Pair of E15 HP2s. Is it over budget? Let me check. Yeah, it's over budget if you go with the paint. No, it's over budget. The price has gone up. Never mind. If you need a single sub, up to $3,000, because 80% theater, you want that headroom. We could easily do, if you need a single sub, maybe you could do a Rhythmic G25 HP. Personally, I'd go for the Rhythmic FV18. My buddy just got a pair of those. Insane. Now, if those are all too big, because most of the Rhythmic subs are on the bigger side, you need a smaller option. Let's see here. Pair of Rel. You'd have to haggle. You'd have to haggle with the local dealer. but you might be able to haggle a local dealer to get a pair of Predator 1510s down to 3,000 for the pair. You might be able to do that, especially during the holidays. If you need really small subs though, and you're just like, dude, those are all like still too big. I need the smallest option possible. A pair of JL Audio D110s, but they're not going to go as loud. They're really capable for how small they are, but they're not going to go as loud. But my ultimate recommendation is the pair of Rhythmic FVX 12s. Jagjit Josan or Hosan or Yosan, depending what country you're from, says, I have a 17-foot by 17-foot room. Shit, that's a square. That's the enemy of good bass. It doesn't mean it's impossible, but you will have some challenges. Following your review yesterday on the Carbon Special, would you recommend an upgrade on the S510 for this room size? Room is treated, and he's using the LS50 and a Name Nova amp. Love it, love it. You got more subwoofer than speaker, just like me and Richard were talking about earlier. Square rooms are tough. Let me ask you this, Jagjit. Are you getting good extension below 30 hertz currently with the S510 in that square room? Square rooms like to cut off certain frequencies. Are you getting good full range bass currently? Answer that question for me, and then I'll answer your question, okay? Themba Allen Dalamini. Damn, that's a lot of name. You got 3 names as your username, bro. What's going on there? I love your reviews, man. Please try reviewing Canton speakers. Can't do it. They're not popular in the USA. I don't know why. I think that's more of like an English brand. Would love your opinion on the opinion because they have a clean, weighty bass, not necessarily loud. I mean, that sounds like something I would like. Let me check real quick. Let me see if they have a dealer that I know. Or maybe they're Canadian. I'm not sure. But like, guys, there's like some brands that just are not popular in the States. You know, like Dolly. Dolly is talked about online so much. They're just not popular in the US, though. They're not. All right, I'm going to Canton Speakers website. And Jagjit, I'm not trying to dodge your question. If you let me know if you got good full range bass currently, and then I'll answer it. Got to accept the stupid cookies. Let's see if they got a dealer list. Partner. Maybe that's where the dealers are. Our partner. What does this mean? Skoda? This doesn't help me. Support. They don't have a dealer list on their website. I don't know what to do here. This is stupid. Canton. If anyone knows someone who works at Canton, this is really crazy that they don't give me a place where I can buy their product on their website. Maybe they sell themselves on their website. Let me take a look. Passive loudspeakers. Oh yeah, I can buy them directly off their website, it looks like. Okay, so that's why they don't have a link to their dealers. They're selling themselves directly online. That's fine. Yeah, I don't know where to get them in the US, brother. I'm sorry. So Ray Juarez says, yeah, it's downstairs family room, so the size doesn't matter. Okay, yeah, Rhythmic FVX 12s pair gets my vote. Now, real quick, if you're serious and size doesn't matter, and you can handle something even bigger, the Rhythmic FVX 12 does have better bass fidelity than the RSL 12S, but the RSL 12S is a lot bigger, and it's just going to be a lot more forceful overall. So if you're like, I want as crazy amount of bass as possible, the RSL 12S being larger will give a bigger sense of scale, will give you even stronger room rumble effects. But if you're like, hey, I also want ultimate fidelity, the FVX 12 is going to take the edge there. And the FVX 12 is no slouch in terms of room rumble either. It's just, its cabinet is considerably smaller than the RSL 12S. All right, where did I leave off? We got a retracted message. Matthew Wright, I blew up one of my Dyne Audio emits by using an underpowered amp that sizzled the speakers before I went in to protect. Yeah, that can happen, man. That can happen. I'm not trying to judge you or anything, but you probably don't have a lot of ear sensitivity for distortion. I'm guessing the speaker was playing like a lot of bass through it. It wasn't getting enough power. The voice coils overheated, and you probably just didn't have a good ear to hear that struggle. And that's okay. Not everyone does. Most people can hear distortion in the mids and highs. Most people cannot hear distortion in the bass region. I can, but like I have like superpowers when it comes to hearing bass. So that's not your fault. Brian saying Canton's from Germany. Okay, I got you. I got you. Yeah, either way, you know, a lot of the European brands are not super popular out here. Very few are. Shit. S. Born Borg is saying, yeah, he needs 10 by 10. Shit, that's... All right, hold on. Got to check the size of this one before I recommend it. That's a really small sub, bro. Man. Okay. Get out of here with the cookies. Every website asks for cookies now. It's so annoying. Man, that's so small. Even the JL Audio D110 isn't that small. The JL Audio D110 is 12 inches wide, 13.4 inches tall, 15.86 inches deep. It's very small. And that is the most obvious upgrade for you, because the JL Audio sound is like take the old Velodyne sound and put it on steroids. Take it to the next level. Make it better in every way. That's JL Audio, right? So the JL Audio D110 would be my top pick for you, man. There is an 8-inch model, the D108. I haven't heard it, so I can't speak to it. But if it's as good as the D110, just, you know, less extension probably because it's smaller, that might be something to try to audition. Let me look at its measurements. Let me see if they even still make it. Yeah, they still make it. The gloss version's $9.99. The ash version's $8.99. And its physical size is 10 inches wide, 11.3 tall, 13 deep. So maybe the JL D108 is more up your alley. But if you could fit the D110, that's... I'll read that comment in a second. Yeah, man, that's my advice. You certainly could get something like a Kef KC62, or just keep your Velodyne. If you're not willing to step up a little bit in size to the JL D110, maybe just keep what you got. Ray Juarez. Plot twist, I currently have one RSL 12S. It gives good bass, but it doesn't feel like it's providing that thump. What? What do you mean? What do you mean it's not providing that thump? Hold on. Let's rewind, Ray. If the RSL 12S isn't doing it for you, FVX 12 isn't going to do it for you either. Ray, be honest with me. Are you a psychopath when it comes to bass? Are you into car audio? Are you looking for that extreme, real theater-like presentation that is just like ungodly, like not even accurate? You just want crazy amount of bass? If that's who you are, and no judgment if that's who you are, it's okay. I gotta imagine you have a bit of a phase issue going on if the 12S isn't hitting your chest. So try to run some kind of measurement using REW and a UMIC 1 if you can, to see where your bass is falling off in the room before you spend more money, and make sure that 12S is dialed in right. But if because that UMIC 1 mic's only $100 and REW is free. So if you run a scan and you got a good flat bass line in the room without any dropouts anywhere, and the 12S truly isn't enough for you, you're going to have to just step up to something like the Rhythmic FV15 or FV18. You're going to need a big dog, big daddy sub. I have friends like that. I got a friend in his little living room. He's got a pair of Rhythmic F18s up front and a G25 HP in the back because that's what he needs to be satisfied. Some people, you know, that last 5% of people, they like really extreme bass. You should measure your room, Ray. Seriously, you want to make sure that 12S is set up right before you spend more money because you might have a room issue, not a subwoofer issue. Middle Earth. Also, Ray, a second 12S might be the easiest solution because sometimes some room issues are fixed by simply adding a second sub. If you've got a room where your couch is in the middle of the room, that's going to be a big problem too. Middle Earth says Bloom Audio sells Canton speakers and do send out speakers for review. They seem like good people. I've never heard of them. Let me look at them. Also keep in mind, guys, when you work with someone, you're the customer. You get the royal treatment. When I work with someone, they treat me like I'm trying to get something out of them. I rarely get the same kind of treatment and respect that a customer does. So there are a lot of dealers that, you know, they really think they're somebody, you know, and they got these big egos, and I just don't react well to that, you know. I'm not like rude back or anything, but I'd rather just like not deal with them. But I'm looking at their website. They got pictures of their staff. Everyone actually looks like real nice people. Maybe these are good people, man. Brands. Canton. Yeah, they got Canton on here. That Vento 20, $16.95 a pair. That looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. Let's see. Yeah, that's a good looking speaker. Let's see if they give us any specs here. Midwoofer's titanium graphite. Don't even know what that means. Music load capacity 60 watts. Sounds light. What's the sensitivity? Doesn't say. That's annoying. I don't like that. Also lists frequency without roll off. 32 hertz to 40,000 hertz. Guys, I'm going to tell you a secret. When a speaker company doesn't tell you the roll off, it's usually minus 10 dB, also known as marketing bullshit. I'm not saying the Canton is bad for that. That Hecko does that. Hecko doesn't give you the roll off because it's minus 10 dB and it's marketing bullshit, but Hecko makes a good speaker. So marketing bullshit doesn't mean it's a bad speaker, but I don't like marketing bullshit. Lost my, okay. Matthew Wright says, it got distorted before it broke, but it happened pretty quick. Oh man, I got you. That can happen sometimes, you know, before you can even grab the remote and mute it, it's cooked. That does happen. DR says JL needs to quit playing games and make a ported home sub. They don't. No, they don't. Their subwoofers pound for pound have some of the most output for their respective sizes. They literally don't need to make a vented sub. Their E112 is an absolute monster. Every single subwoofer JL Audio makes for its physical size is an absolute output champion and cannot be bested unless you're spending substantially more money. And even still, I'm not sure. Middle Earth, the music room, also sells Canton speakers, and they also do review samples. I don't fuck with those guys at all. No, thank you. No, thank you. I tried to buy a set of speakers from them. These people don't know how to run a business. They had a pair of Focal Sopra #1s. It was listed on their eBay store for $6,800, I think. I emailed them on their website and I was like, hey, you have them listed on eBay for $6,800. I'm willing to buy them right now for $6,000. I can't remember what my offer was. It was $6,004 or $6,005. But all I did was you know, because I've sold stuff on eBay too. I know what the fee structure is. I was like, hey, if you sell them on eBay right now for full price, These are the fees you're going to have to pay, right? So like really you're going to be left with this amount. I'll just give you this amount right now, right? And you don't have to pay all those eBay fees and I get a little bit of a better deal. The dude doesn't even respond. I send a follow-up email. Then he's like, yeah, man, boss said no. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, did you see my math? I'm not asking you for you to make less money. Like you're going to make the same amount of money, right? And he's like, yeah, man, I don't own the place. Boss said no. Just like, fuck you, dude. And then 2 weeks later, they update the price on eBay lower, 6,400, which is pretty much what my original offer was. The offer they turned me down on, they lowered the price to. I hit him up again. Hey man, see, you lowered the price. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, same offer. Take the eBay fees out of the equation and I'll buy it on your website where you don't have to pay those eBay fees. Because they have it listed on their website also. Dude emails me back. Yeah, man, boss said no. What the fuck? What is wrong with these people? They're idiots. I'll never work with the music room. Never. So happy for you. Oh, this is, sorry. Criminally insane. So happy for you scoring a pair of carbon specials, Nemo. You deserve it, brother. Thank you, bro. Thank you. I appreciate it. It feels good, man. It really does feel good. I'm very grateful. It's expensive stuff. It's pretty end game stuff. And I'm really grateful to neighbor Stefan. He's a good guy. Max says Paradigm just came out with a new Essential Series sub. Hopefully a review is coming. Paradigm's another brand that doesn't answer my emails. I've sent Paradigm numerous emails trying to work with them, trying to review their product. They don't respond to me. Sometimes I wonder if like brands see me review a lot of rel subs. They know their shit can't compete and they just don't want to send me a review sample. I don't know. But let's look at their new subwoofer. I've never been impressed with Paradigm subwoofer designs anyway. They tend to use a lot of passive radiators, and most passive radiator subs sound like shit except for Rel. But let's see what they have. Yeah, I tried to get the XR11 review sample. They just didn't respond. So here's my thing. Essential sub 10, $399. Why wouldn't you just buy RSL Speedwoofer 10S? And then they have the Essential 12 for $549. I'll just get a Rhythmic L12 instead, or RSL Speedwoofer 10S again. Remember, guys, a vented 10-inch will have more output than a sealed 12. So that RSL Speedwoofer 10, the 10S, it will have more bass than the most 12-inch subs that are sealed that have, like, say, 500 watts or so. So this is the Essential sub 10 I'm looking at. 10-inch high excursion driver, every brand, high excursion driver. Oh yeah. Yeah, I hope so. It's a subwoofer. You wouldn't use a low excursion driver. 56-bit high resolution DSP engine. Okay. I mean, everybody uses DSP. They claim plus or minus 23 hertz. That's pretty impressive for a 10-inch if it really does that. Mm, 23 pounds. That's pretty light. I worry about that. I don't like subwoofers that are super lightweight. 23 pounds is pretty light. But you know, it probably just has a small motor. Probably has like a thin cabinet. 200 watt amp. Yeah, that's not really going to be a performer. A sealed 10 with only 200 watts. And DSP, because like DSP sucks up wattage. That's something a lot of people don't really talk about. Because all those corrections, they take up power, you know. You're boosting that low end usually a lot, and it sucks up power. Yeah, I mean, look, it's cool. It's probably all right. I'm probably not going to love it, let's be honest. You know what I mean? If they're willing to work with me, I will review it, but I don't think most of my audience wants my opinion on like a super budget sub because I already have found the best budget options. The best budget options in order of lowest to highest, RSL 10E, RSL 10S, and then Rhythmic L12, and then Rhythmic LV12M. Those are your best budget picks. There's nothing will even come close to those, I promise you. I know this is a new one, I haven't heard it, and I shouldn't judge it, but I promise you, I know a lot about how subwoofers are made. I've made many of my own subwoofers before. It's something I don't talk about on the channel because I don't want to get into it. But I promise you, like the RSL 10E and 10S and Rhythmic L12 and LV12M, they will not be beat. They will not be beat. There's a reason those subs are so good. RSL has a very unique port orientation and design they use. It takes a lot of math. Most brands don't understand it. They don't know how to do it. Rhythmic has their patented servo. No one can copy it. Those two brands do something unique in the budget category that is going to be really difficult for people to copy. Yeah, that's my take on that. If it sounds like I'm just kind of annoyed because they don't get back to me, I'm not going to lie. That's part of it. Yeah, that is part of it. Richard says if the RSL isn't thumping, could be a placement issue or polarity is set wrong. Yeah, I think so. The RSL, I'm pretty sure, has a full variable phase, Richard. So yeah, it could just be a phase issue. But it could also be he's one of those guys with the couch in the middle of the room. It is tough to get good bass without room correction with something like that. Something like a mini DSP might be needed. S-Born says, thanks. JL Audio is also on my list. Perfect. Cobalt, I recently got an FVX12. Let's go to replace my SVS 1000, my SB 1000 Pro for near field PC gaming. I cannot tell the difference at all. What? Am I doing something wrong, or should I move the FVX12 to my HT instead? That's crazy. That is crazy. SB 1000 Pro is a great little sub, but we got a serious size difference here. The FVX12 should destroy the SB 1000 Pro, just like SVS's own PB 2000 Pro should destroy their little SB 1000 Pro. I'm guessing you're hearing your room more than you're hearing your subwoofer. Near field bass is challenging. It's usually under a desk or something like that. Yeah, if you've got a main home theater rig, I would probably use the FVX12 there instead, because I mean, this should be a night and day difference. But you may also have like a pretty major phase issue, some major cancellation problems as a result of that near field setup. Hold on, guys. I need a beverage. Always pushing. Got my first knock on the door by my neighbor. Probably pushing these 4 subs and systems, watching Sicario. Dual SVS SB3000s and dual other brand dual 15 stacked. Jesus. Yeah, man. Yeah. Forgot he switched to midnights and good dude, so no worries. Yeah. You got to be courteous with the neighbors, you know. I try to shut it down by 9 p.m. personally. My neighbor's a bitch, but like sometimes my neighbor loves slamming their door. And I live in a condo, so I got that one shared wall, right? And they slam their door all the fucking time. Sometimes if they slam their door in the middle of the night, I'll just be like, you know what? Fuck you. I'll disconnect my speaker, so I'm running subwoofer only, and I'll play Unstoppable by Troy Boy like 3 times in a row, just at full tilt. Full tilt. If you know that song, you know that song shakes walls. The Real Spot says, hi there. What amp works well with PMC 23s? No idea, bro. PMC is just another brand that ain't super popular out here. I haven't heard it myself. I just haven't heard it. Also, guys, this is just general for anyone. If you're going to ask for a product recommendation, I at least need to know a budget, you know, or I'm just going to say, just get a $12,000 Pathos. Pathos makes a great amp. Jagjit Hosan, man, it took you a long time to respond, bro. He says he's got low extension of 30 hertz. Would 2 S510s be better than 1 carbon? The S510 should be getting lower, bro. It should be getting lower than 30 hertz. The problem is the square room. Would 2 S510s be better than 1 carbon converted double garage to a home bar? Nice. Based in England, nice. I was born in England. I don't drink, but thank you for the offer. Okay, so in my small room, the S510 also does not extend below 30 hertz until I added my bass traps. I'm not suggesting you add bass traps because that doesn't always fix it. So this is why Series S was not made for small rooms. S510 in a room that's too small or perfectly square or worse, cube shaped, you're going to have a hard time with bass. What I recommend is one of two things. Either ditch the S510 and get a carbon special, because the carbon special, while you still have the square room, the carbon special is bigger and more powerful and can fight the room better. It's not the ideal way to go about it, but a bigger sub can just fight those types of room issues better. Or before you buy anything, I hate giving this advice because I don't like this myself, but it does help some people solve major issues. Try mini DSP. They're like $200. Try one, and maybe that'll help. Otherwise, the carbon special should have enough power in it to fight those types of room issues. Not a guarantee, though. Not a guarantee. Square spaces are tough. Ray Juarez says, I think I need to run Rue as well. Yeah. I haven't invested in it, but it's something I need to do. I do, however, admit that I want to feel bass coming from everywhere. I admit I have a problem. Okay, so yeah, that's cool. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. There are people that are, it's like only like 5% of customers that I call the psychopath. Some of you guys have a car audio background. You want your system not to be like a real theater. You want it to be more. You want more bass than a real theater. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that taste. You just have to be honest with yourself. And you have to know that oftentimes it will require a very large subwoofer. I have a friend like that, and he bought a pair of Rhythmic FV18s. And now he's very happy. But definitely run a sweep with REW. Again, that mic is only $100. And just make sure it's not the room causing a problem. And if it's not the room causing a problem, you need to go big, real big. It is what it is, you know? Yeah, DR saying the eBay and PayPal cut is crazy. Yeah, it is. TMR doesn't seem to know that, but whatever. Fuck them. Raymundi says, did you try the PS Audio FR5 bookshelves? No, that's another company that doesn't get back to me. Guys, I try to work with all these brands. I try to work with all of them. Most of them don't respond to my emails. Nothing I could do about that. I mean, I guess with PS Audio, I could ask Jay to introduce me, but like, I'm not a beggar either. You know, I send him an email. I send him the email, you know, because there's so many brands that are willing to work with me. Why am I going to bust my own balls trying to work with someone that doesn't want to work with me? You know what I'm saying? King Dranzer says, I'm glad that DIY subs is a possibility because for us in India, yeah, I know. You guys have nothing available. And if it is available, you have a crazy tax. I believe your tax rate on consumer electronics is like 70%. And then on top of that, a lot of the greedy wholesalers put even more markup on top. Subwoofers like SVS are crazy expensive. Yep. Sue and Rhythmic not even available. Believe it or not, I don't know if it's still the case. I talked to someone from India who said he had a local Rhythmic dealer. Maybe I'm confusing Rhythmic with another brand. I'm not sure. This was quite a while ago. But I remember the guy was like, yeah, there's a dealer out here. It must have been someone that was just like importing them himself. But King Dranzer's adding, seriously, I can get an 18-inch Dayton Ultimax 2 done with a crown amp powering it for about $850. Nothing even comes close to its performance for 2 or 3 times the budget here. Yeah, you're 100% right. You live in a country where if you want big bass and you cannot afford to spend 5,000 US plus equivalent, DIY makes a lot more sense. And even if you're not good at it, there's a lot of craftsmen that can do it for you, you know, for a little bit of money as well, and you'll still come out on top. S-Born says, so do you think JL Audio E110 or D110 will be better than the old Velodyne 800? Is there a big difference between D and E? So the size difference, the E sub is a lot bigger. I own both. I think the E sounds just a little better. The E has a little bit of a bigger sense of scale. It's a bigger sub. It has more output in it, especially when pushed to the limits of extension. It can just hold its composure into much louder volumes. The E sub is an upgrade, yeah. But again, it's like $1,000 more. So that's no surprise. But the D110, I mean, is still a huge upgrade from your SPL 800. They both D and E subs have similar sound quality. Excellent start-stop behavior, pretty good note-to-note distinction. The E110 is it's going to hold on to its composure into much louder volumes and a little bit deeper in the extension. But the D110 is no slouch if the E110 is too big or a little bit outside of your budget. Slick Man Elite, have you ever heard the Tecton 210, 410, or 610 subs? No. I had the opportunity. I was in talks with Tecton about getting a 210 a while ago. But I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I got a weird fucking vibe. Like, they were cool. They didn't do anything wrong. They didn't say anything wrong. But I just and this is before the Aaron's Audio Corner drama. They were just weird, man. Like, you ever talk to someone and you're like, motherfucker, you're weird. Something ain't right about you. I got like that kind of vibe, and I stopped responding to them. I let it die. That was one of the few times I've done that where I was just like, I don't have a good feeling, and I just let it go. And then a couple of years later, we had the Aaron's Audio Corner Tecton fiasco. How long we've been doing this? 91 minutes. Time flies when you're having fun. Jeez. Reggie says, I have an old Velodyne HTS 18. What would be comparable rel replacement? I mean, if this is a 18-inch, let me make sure this is the one I'm thinking of. If I remember correctly, HGS was like their bottom dollar line. That was like the cheap stuff, relatively speaking, compared to like their digital drive back in the day. Let me just make sure I'm not confused. It wasn't like ultra cheap, but it was more like compact. It didn't have the excursion of the digital drive. I mean, it was $3,000 for its time, so it wasn't cheap. You're going to want a Rhythmic F18. It's just that simple. The Rhythmic F18 is what you're going to get if you want that same like 18-inch style, like sense of scale. The Rhythmic F18 is also going to be superior. So the HGS 18 sat below the Digital Drive 18. The Digital Drive 18, I believe, was $5,000 back in the 90s. And that was a big step up from the HGS. The Rhythmic F18 is a step up from their Digital Drive 18. So you want a Rhythmic F18. Always pushing, says LOLOL sub only. Yeah, fuck that neighbor, bro. They're assholes. They don't care, man. They make so much noise, like so late. Like, I know I bump my system in the daytime, but I shut it down at 9 p.m., guys. I try to be very courteous to my community. But these people next door to me, they don't care. They don't give a shit. Richard says he's always wondered about a pair of Tecton 610s. There's a guy local to him that has a pair for sale. Yeah, I mean, I've seen them locally for sale around here too. But I'm not interested in it anymore. Matthew Wright says, I went from an apartment in Brooklyn to a ranch in New Mexico. Nice. I can bump tunes whenever I want. Am I really living the dream? And I'm really thankful. Yeah. Congrats, bro. Congrats. Mateus Pankowski. Hi, Nemo. How do you integrate Rhythmic Sub via line in when it has 1 millisecond delay? I don't understand your question, bro. I'm sorry. I don't understand what you mean. I plug in RCA cables. My preamp has left and right pre-outs. I plug them into my Rhythmic left and right RCA inputs. I'm not sure what you're referring to. King Dan's are Rel audio available, but not Rhythmic and sad. I love those most for music setups. Oh, you're probably outside of the country, yeah. Oh, yeah, you're in India, yeah. I mean, Rel is amazing still. I mean, Rel is no downgrade from Rhythmic. They have very few competing models. Rhythmic mostly makes big subs. Rel makes mostly smaller subs. I'll have to check if Rhythmic is still ships the kits. They don't. They don't. You could try emailing them, but they don't sell the kits anymore. Yeah, he says the guy in India must have been importing them and selling them for a crazy markup. Rel is very expensive out here. Yeah, it's a combination of what it costs to ship it, just the freight cost to India is high. Your local duties are extremely high for both the shipper and the importer or receiver. Then you also have your own retail taxes. I don't want to get political, but I've talked to a lot of guys in India, and it does seem like the government is kind of abusing the people with the taxes on consumer electronics. It's unfortunate. Tyler Cheeseman, I came close to buying some Tectons. Once I saw a video from the owner, I got the same vibe. Creep the fuck out. Ran, didn't walk away. Yeah, bro. Yeah, I found this blog post from him. You probably can't find it on the internet anymore, where he was like airing a lot of his dirty laundry, talking about his wife and something, maybe a custody battle. I can't remember the details, but it was very strange to put that kind of information on the internet. It really didn't sit right with me. Richard says he's got to step out. Thanks for the live stream. Good having you, Richard. Old school subscriber from back in the day. I appreciate you. But yeah, Ty, it was weird, man. It was weird that blog post I saw. He was really getting in the nitty gritty in a way that I didn't think was becoming of a man or a business owner to air your dirty laundry on the internet like that blog style. It's one thing to air your dirty laundry if you're looking for a solution. Maybe you make a post on Reddit or another forum. Hey guys, I got this problem with my wife, my kid, whatever. This is what I've tried. It doesn't work. Does anyone have feedback for me? That's okay. I support that. But do it just in a blog style where no one's going to interact with you and you're just airing it, very strange. Very strange. Tells me this man may have a poor judgment. I don't know. It's like I had a friend who was 35. He started dating this girl that was 19, and I was like, something ain't right. I'm not implying anything that this is related to Tecton. I'm in no way implying this is a totally separate thing here. But yeah, I was like, I don't know, my buddy here, I don't know if I want to be buddies with him anymore. This is some bad judgment. And I stopped being friends with him. And I don't want to get political. I don't want to talk about much. But if you saw the dude today, I think most people would tell me I made the right choice discontinuing my friendship with that man. King Dranzer says, yeah, it's extremely crazy here. We also pay 33% income tax every year. That's not too crazy. Most Americans pay around that also. People think it's like a lot more than that, but it's not because we get a refund. It feels like the government takes half your check, but you get a refund at the end of the year for a lot of people. Mateus is saying he meant the time alignment because I don't use DSP. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about still, bro. I'm sorry. I'm not into like that kind of stuff, bro. I'm not into DSP. I tune the shit by ear and I make it fucking sound perfect. I don't know what to tell you. It's most of the DSP guys don't believe me. They're like, how? I don't know what to tell you. I don't know about your process. I tune everything by ear and it sounds great. Everyone that's ever come to my home is blown away. Every subwoofer I've set up for someone else is blown away with how perfect I get it. I don't know what you mean even by 1 millisecond delay. I don't even know what that is. I don't know what that means. I don't know what issue that causes. You guys got to remember for decades, DSP didn't exist and everyone set up their system by ear. And what do you think? 20 years ago, nobody had an amazing sounding system and everyone's system sounded like shit because there was no DSP, I don't know, man. Don't get me wrong. I think DSP has its place. If your room has some major issues, don't get me wrong. Or your ear's not good enough to like set it up right. I can set up most subwoofers perfectly within 10 minutes. Max says, I think everyone's got a creepy vibe from Tecton now. Yeah. No way to run a business. Won't be around much longer, probably. You never know, dude. You never know. I mean, I don't know if that's going to put him out of business necessarily. And I don't think that it should. I don't think he deserves that level of punishment. Did he overreact? Yeah. Does that mean he needs to lose his livelihood? I mean, come on now. I don't think so. I think that would be a consequence disproportionate to what he did. Hey Nemo, SA12 six-pack owner here. This is Rue. Thanks for your response from your carbon video. Check out the different high-level cables now available. They do make a difference from the OEM units. I know, but I just, my carbon sounds so good, I don't really care to get more out of them. I'm not like a dragon chaser. My buddy, neighbor Stefan, who sold them to me, he had a pair of Kimber high-level cables that he was like, hey, I'll throw these in for like pennies on the dollar of what I paid. I think he paid like $900 a piece for them, and he was willing to let them go for almost nothing. But I was like, bro, just sell those on eBay or something. You're already giving me such a good deal, you know? So I don't, yeah, I'm good enough. I'm beyond satisfied. It's like my car. My car makes 450 horsepower at the wheels. I have a tune for it that adds another 100 horsepower. The tune's been off for like 2 years. My car makes enough power. I have no desire for it to make another 100 horsepower. It doesn't matter. It's inconsequential for me. I am satisfied with the carbon specials as they come with the factory cables. I appreciate you sharing that though. Ryan Gagne, I think he said on one of his videos that his ex kidnapped his sons. Yeah, the blog post was some weird shit like that. You do not need to be sharing that kind of weirdness with the general fucking public, man. That's weird. That is a crazy home dynamic. That is a crazy ex-wife, baby mama situation. And it is crazy to tell strangers on the internet about that for no reason at all. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. That's like me sharing like my like stool with you, like telling you about my bathroom experience. There's no reason for me to tell you about how I go to the bathroom. That's crazy. That's really bad judgment, man. That is really bad judgment. That's so weird. Like go to the bar, tell a stranger. That's still fucking weird. But tell a stranger at the bar. You know, talk to your buddies, man. Like, fuck. It really trips me out, man. People do stuff like that. Especially in adulthood, when you're 50 years old plus. Like, have we learned nothing? Have we learned nothing in our life? Talk about oversharing, man. You know? CMay 119 Nemo, I'm the guy that commented on your F18 review recently, replacing my Velodyne F1200B. Just got it on Friday and still need to return my room correction with it. But holy shit. Rerun my room correction with it. Holy shit. Yeah, bro. I mean, you did a big upgrade, bro. And that F18's nowhere near broken in yet. You know, it's only going to get better. You did a big upgrade, brother. I'm really happy for you. I love seeing people do big upgrades like that. Love it. Oh yeah, C-May saying the difference in all areas is just massive. Yeah, bro. Yeah. I think I told you in the comments what you're doing is like you have like your old Velodyne was like a Toyota Corolla and you just bought a brand new Lexus. It's a huge upgrade. You're on a completely other level now. Congratulations, brother. Ryan says, do you plan on reviewing the SB17? Maybe someone asked already. Yeah, people ask all the time. No, I don't review 150-pound subwoofers. No. You got to remember, guys, I got to put these things back in the box, put them back in my car, drive them to FedEx or whatever the fuck, and ship them and carry them. And no fucking way. I'm not doing that. C-May saying even the sound stage for his speakers when listening to music is just incredible. Very happy so far. The change in sound stage, I mean, from before. Yeah. Look, a good high quality subwoofer can make you feel like you also upgraded your speakers. It'll make you feel like you upgraded your whole system. That's why I love good subwoofers so much, man. Ryan saying I'm the first person to pronounce his last name correctly. Really? I didn't think it was that hard. That's crazy. That's crazy. I won't say it again, though. What if I missay it this time, right? Tronic 307, do you think the sub 10 would make a good mid-bass unit for a small speaker? Yeah, I mean, like the sub 10 can get low too, though. The Buchart sub 10 is really small. It's a very unique shape and a very slim design, but it could still extend respectably low and it can play respectably loud, right? I don't see why it shouldn't, be able to produce like, well, you're asking about mid-bass specifically. So look, bro, here's the thing. Most subwoofers don't, in my opinion, they don't sound all that great around 80 hertz and up. So if you're trying to use this thing for like 110, 120 hertz, you can. It has that scan. I believe it uses that 10-inch scan speak. That 10-inch scan speak is one of the better drivers in terms of mid-bass articulation. But I mean, just try it, bro. Just try it. The sub 10 is good. It's a good sub. I like it. Rue says, LOL, I also have a self-imposed weight limit for all my gear. 100 pounds for anything from amps to speakers. Yeah, bro. Yeah. It's, you don't want this stuff to take over your life. Juan Madrigal, $9.99 super chat. Thank you, big dog. Hola. It's time for Nemo and collab for best under subs. What? What are you saying, bro? I don't understand. I think you sent it before you typed your whole question, maybe, because it looks like you meant to say more. Leave a correction. You don't have to super chat again. I'll still read your comment, but I'm not sure what you mean, bro. Yeah, this is the most super chats I've ever gotten. This is crazy. Thank you, guys. I might buy myself a really nice meal, actually. I might. Tronic, you want to run two Buchart subwoofers at 135 hertz? Why? That is such a high frequency for a subwoofer to produce. Subwoofers are not made to produce frequencies that high. They're just not. It doesn't mean they can't. They will, but that's, what problem are you trying to fix? Why do you want to do that? Even little speakers can play above 100 hertz. I cross over my subs at 50 hertz usually, sometimes 40 hertz, sometimes 30 hertz, depending on what speakers I'm using. I have never heard a system where an 80 hertz or higher crossover sounded better than a lower crossover. I need to understand more on why you're trying to do that. If you just love mid-bass, you're better off selling your speakers and getting a speaker that has a lot of mid-bass prominence. Ben Gleason, get out of here, bro. Okay, no, you specified. You specified. Sub 10 versus T0 for mid-bass. T0 is going to have a little bit better articulation. I mean, it's a 6.5-inch driver. That's what most speakers use, right? So the T0 is one of the best subwoofers for mid-bass. Matter of fact, I personally don't think it's right to call the T0 a subwoofer. I think it makes more sense to refer to the T0 as a supplemental woofer for mid-bass reinforcement. I think the T0 might make more sense there. Glad you brought that up, Ben. Thank you. Hold on, guys. It's beverage time again. Ria says, hey, Nemo. Sorry, guys. Got to adjust on this chair. I am currently enjoying the Bacard E50s. Hell yeah, man. Congrats. Congrats. That's a badass speaker. They need a lot of hours to really open up. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. At least 50 plus of hard use. 100 or more would be ideal, though. I have the Rel T7X. Yeah, that's too small for the E50. So you want to upgrade to the T9X Special. Not sure these E50s need a sub. You're not wrong. It depends what kind of music you listen to. What I would suggest is once you have about 100 hours or more on the E50s, disconnect your subwoofer and just run them as is and then decide if you need a subwoofer or not. That's my advice. You know what I mean? Because they may not. If you listen to a lot of EDM and you want like a lot of 25 hertz presence, you might want a subwoofer that can get that low. I'm not sure the T9X would, get low enough for the E50, but it might. It kind of depends on the room. Matthew Wright, hey, will you appear on the One Bit podcast with Jay and Zero Fidelity? Maybe. They haven't invited me to it yet. They did tell me about it before they were doing it, and they did kind of mention like they might ask me to be on there, but it's got to gain some traction first, and I'm too small of a channel. I'm not going to help them gain any traction by being on there. So my guess is they probably want to have some more appealing content before they get like a little reviewer like me on there. And that's totally okay with me. I don't mind that at all. That will be funny though, if the three of us really do get together, because we do know each other. We're not like homeboys. We don't like hang out. We all live thousands and thousands of miles away from each other, but like we know each other. Like sometimes I'd be talking to Jay on Facebook Messenger. I talk to Sean fairly often. We shoot the shit, like we all know each other. So the hard part might be just like staying on topic and not getting too rowdy. You know what I mean? Ben is saying, yeah, we definitely need to get together. We might, you know what I mean? Most podcasts fail. So I don't know how long they'll do it for. Most podcasts don't stay around. It's really hard to get traction on a podcast. Like there's a YouTuber I follow. It's a gaming channel called Isha Gaming. Super awesome. And she started a podcast. They did 50 episodes and man, they never got more than like 1,500 views. And it was a great podcast. I loved it. It was called Disky Disc. I loved it. It was so fun. And she has like over 100,000 subscribers, and her podcast she ended up throwing the towel on it. Oh, my butt is starting to hurt on this chair, guys. We are approaching the tail end. So if you got questions, get them out. I'm going to wrap this up soon. King Dranzer says 80 to 100 hertz is my sweet spot, though. I mostly pair them with monitors, LCRs, not full towers. I don't use full towers either, and I still think 80 to 100 hertz is too high, but maybe that works in your room. I would try 50, though, and just turn the sub up more. Maybe it's just personal taste. I don't know. Matthew Wright says gallows are cool as hell. Really? I think they're so ugly. But, hey, beauty's in the eye of the beholder, right? Juan Madrigal says, sorry, I'm outside too bright. It's time for Nemo made subs to buy from you and a company. No, I don't think I plan to make a subwoofer. Not right now, at least. Shane Lee is in here. What's up, dog? 135 hertz is perfect for a Bose Acoustimass. Yeah, I mean, when your speaker's like this big, yeah, for sure, bro, for sure. Cool to see you. I don't think I've ever seen you in one of my live streams, bro. Shane Lee is another great content creator, guys. He's a crazy guy when it comes to subwoofers. Like if like I don't review big subwoofers, I like the smaller ones. Shane Lee is the opposite. Shane Lee wants to review the biggest, baddest subwoofers there is. He loves those subwoofers that are like 150, 200 pounds. You're a psychopath for that, bro, but I respect you. Okay. Ben says, would it then make sense at all to use a Rel T0 and a bigger sub? If you're trying to do some weird stuff where you're like just really trying to get more mid bass out of your system, I suppose you could. You know, as long as you can get it all time aligned, yeah, you could do that, Ben. Mateus says, so you say you don't notice the difference between LFE and line in on rhythmic. Bro, I don't use LFE. Why would I use LFE? I'm a 2-channel stereo guy. LFE is a home theater signal. It's the 0.1 in a mix. I don't have an AVR. I'm not decoding DTS or a Dolby signal. I don't use LFE. Line in has a clear delay that it needs to be corrected via DSP. Otherwise, it plays off tempo. No, I don't think it does. I don't think it does. I don't think you can hear 1 millisecond. But Mateus, yeah, I don't use LFE, bro. I still don't know what you're referring to. If you think you need to use DSP to get it to sound perfect for you, do that. I support that. That's okay. I don't need to do that. I've set up many subwoofers for many people, and most subs have quite a bit more delay than that. So I think 1 millisecond is inconsequential, but I'm able to get the stuff to sound perfect. Jeff Pena says, Rel Classic 98 for 700 square feet and 13-foot ceilings, 1 or 2 pairing with bookshelves. Depends on your taste for bass, you know, and if your room has major issues with a single sub. Some rooms just require dual subs because they got some standing waves and shit like that. Classic 98 is a very capable sub. That's not a massive room, right? Let me just do some quick math. No, that's kind of a big room. That's kind of a big room. Tell me the room dimensions. Like, what's the length and width? You just gave me square feet. Like, yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy, bro. 700 square feet with 1,300 foot ceilings. That's like a small warehouse, bro. If that's really what you mean, you're going to need a pair. You might want the Classic 99. Give me room dimensions, bro. Something ain't mathing with your math. Ryan says, hope maybe you can get some Martin Logan subs to review. Some look very nice. Yeah. The only Martin Logan subs I'm interested in are the Balance Force, but those are too fucking heavy, man. They're too heavy for me to want to deal with those. So no Martin Logan really. Tronic says rhythmic subs tended to have more lag through line versus LFE. The way kind of fix it was to align the center of the sub with your speaker versus the fronts. I'll be honest, I don't know what you guys are talking about. You guys are having problems I've never had. Yeah. Rue's taking off. Peace, everyone. Thanks, Nemo. Thank you, Rue. Suwa is telling Ben to stop it. What are you telling Ben to stop? Suwa, I better see you at Expona. Gary Metzger. Ever review the Martin Logan? No, I haven't reviewed the Abyss. I don't like subwoofers with a lot of passive radiators, and that's what the Martin Logan Abyss is. Most of them sound like shit. Rel is the only brand that can make a passive radiator subwoofer sound beautiful. So far, in my experience. So you kind of want a pair of Rel S510s, Gary? And HT, but the price is crazy. Any suggestions? Yeah. So if you want Rels, but the S510s are too expensive, get the HT range. The HT range is crazy good. It is crazy good, man. I love the HT range. Don't think it's just for home theater. It's not, bro. It's fantastic. Go audition it. It's sold. It's widely available. Most people can demo them. You might have to drive for an hour depending how close your nearest dealer is. Get the Rel HT range. Get a pair of 1205s or something. You're going to love it. King Dranzer's taking off too. Have a good day, my man. Tronic says, I think you can time align with mini DSP. Yeah, cool. Okay. I don't care about DSP, guys. I'm sorry. That's not my thing. My room doesn't need it. I've never found a need for it. If your room needs it, you should use it. But I'm not for or against it. Ignacio Garcia, what do you think about the new SVS Ultra 17? I think it's too big for me to be interested in it. I'm not interested in 150-pound subwoofers. It's nothing personal. I'm sure it's great, but I'm not interested in such a large subwoofer. I'm not a theater subwoofer reviewer. I review subwoofers for 2-channel stereo. CMA 119 Nemo, when you were playing with the F18, did you prefer to run it a little hot? Oh, I like running all subwoofers a little hot. Yes, yes. I did find I like turning the volume knob to about the 2 o'clock position. Were you doing something similar? There was 2 o'clock. Our rooms are different, bro. So where you have your gain and where I have mine, there's no relevance. There's no relationship there. But yes, I ran the F18 a little hot. I run all subwoofers a little hot if I can. Some subwoofers, if they're not good, you can't run them hot. They just start to fuck up the mid-range. And I hate that. But a good sub, like anything Rhythmic makes, anything Brel makes, you can run them a little hot and they sound better. In my opinion, that's my taste. And you know what's funny about that? So, you know what? Never. That's a story for another time. Story for another time. But yeah, I like running my subs a little hot. Ben Gleason says, Suat and I are buds. We're going to be causing trouble at Expona. Good. I'm here for it. I am here for it. Gary Metzger says, Rel HT or T9X for music. It's music and home theater. 3,500 cubic feet. I need dimensions, brother. I need dimensions. Not. I appreciate like the total, but length, width, height is more helpful for me. It's just how my brain visualizes spaces. Let me see here. Yeah, I don't know. It's like 18 by 15 feet or something. I need dimensions, Gary, and that'll help me. But I'm still leaning towards HT. Jeff Pena, open loft with 1 bedroom. Open area is around 11 by 18. Living opens, but 18 by 22 dining kitchen, 12 by 6 foyer. That's tough. That is tough. I can't remember what your original question was, Jeff. Rel Classic 98. Okay, now I remember. So you're 11 by 18 with 13-foot ceilings. Ask Rel, bro. Ask Rel. I think you're going to need a pair of Classic 98s, Gary, but Jeff, sorry. But I'd suggest ask Rel. Rel is going to be more intimately familiar with what a room needs for their own product because they deal with so many more rooms than I do. I just have my one room. Rel sets up all the dealer rooms, all the trade shows. They talk to lots of customers. They're going to be able to give you better advice than I can, but I'm leaning towards 2 Classic 98s. But who knows? They might say to do 1 Classic 99 instead. They may have a different recommendation altogether. I suggest you ask Rel directly. They are better at that than I am. But again, I'm leaning towards 2. Dragnet Sound says, thanks for what you do. You rock. Thank you, bro. Thank you. Mateus says, I did time align my FVX12 with mini DSP, and now I align my G22 pair because I couldn't listen to them without it. They were so delayed, and I'm really surprised that Nemo, as a reviewer, don't hear that. I'm not mixing multiple subs like that. I'm not mixing subs, so I'm not going to have those issues. Also, I'm not using the gear you are using, and I'm not in the room you're in. So you got to just consider I simply don't have that issue in my home, in my room with my setup. And I've like had people here that are sound engineers. I've had people here that really know their stuff. And you guys know audiophiles are not afraid to criticize someone's system in front of them. JMD says Rel has a room calculator for right size sub on their site. They do. Still wouldn't hurt to email him, especially because his room is a little bit unique. Is a millisecond a millionth of a second? Is that what it means? I think thousandths. I think it's thousandths. 10, 100. Yeah, it's a thousandth of a second. Yeah. Yeah, Mateus, I don't know why it seems like you want to argue, bro. Like, I'm not telling you you're wrong. Like, Mateus, if you had some delay you could hear and you had to fix it with DSP, I'm happy for you. That's no problem. I it seems like you're the one that doesn't believe me. I'm telling you I don't have this problem, and you keep bringing this up. I don't understand. You had the problem. I'm sorry you had some delay problem. You fixed your delay problem. You should be happy about this. I'm happy for you. But you seem to be unhappy that I'm not having a delay problem. I don't understand this. This is very strange. Gary Metzger. So my room was 27 by 13, 8 foot on one side. Oh, fuck. 13 foot on another. Weird shaped room with vaulted ceilings and open to other rooms on the back side. Any idea if one S510 would work? Yeah, an S510 would work in that room. Will it be enough for that room? That depends on your taste for bass, right? How much bass is enough is a lot like how much salt is enough for food, right? There's people that hardly use any. And then, oh my God, my aunt puts salt on everything, guys. Salad. She'll order a salad at a restaurant, salted up like crazy. I could never even eat that. So how much bass is enough? Highly personal, but those room dimensions are fantastic for an S510. You're not going to have any like weird issues because S510 likes a medium-sized room and up. Series S in general likes a medium-sized room and up. I knew what you meant, Gary. I've seen rooms like that. Ray Balderas is a Rel 510 too much for an 11 by 12 room. Yes, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Ray. S510 is not going to be ideal for an 11 by 12 room. It's just a little bit too small. That subwoofer needs a room that has a little bit more length to it. If you were by, say, 11 by 15, for example, an S510 could start to make more sense. I think you're going to get better sound out of a single T9X. And if you're like, damn, that's a bummer, like, I feel you. If you're an extension fanatic, consider a HT1205 instead, perhaps. But yeah, no, Ray, I would not recommend a single S510 for an 11 by 12. Yeah, even with the 9-foot ceilings. I'm sorry, I wouldn't. And I think Rel would give that same recommendation. I'm sure you've plugged it in on their website, you know. So we're at we're at 127 minutes. Most of my streams go for about 2 hours to 2 hours and 20 minutes. So it doesn't look like more questions are coming in. We do have 51 people in here. Don't forget to hit the like button. It does help share the video. So please, I'll keep this going as long as you guys got questions. But at some point, the stream kind of hits a natural stop. You know, everyone got their questions out, and that's, you know, I don't like to overstay my welcome, right? Ray saying thank you. No problem, Ray. Sorry, I couldn't give you a different answer. You know what I mean? Every room has its limits, though, especially for 2-channel music. If you are doing mostly theater, you could get away with going really big, but you're going to need to DSP everything. Gary says, love your reviews. Thanks, bro. Hey, thank you, Gary. I appreciate that. JMD says, thank you, Nemo. Seema says, thank you. Really appreciate the F18 review. It really helped my purchase decision. Hey, man, that's what it's all about. My goal is to help people stop obsessing on the purchase, calm down enough mentally, because we hyper-focus. We stress ourselves out, right? I try to bring that stress level down, right? So you can make a decision and get back to enjoying the hobby. Unfortunately, some people are way too wound up. I can't help everyone. Some people, they like the stress. They want to be stressed out, it seems like, you know? DR saying, if the room is 30 feet long, but you listen at 15 feet, how do you measure? So DR, that's a situation where you're going to want to use my Discord. My Discord is free. You can hop in there. You draw up like in Microsoft Paint. It doesn't have to be anything nice. Draw the room, draw where you sit, and put a little arrow for distance, and that'll help us because it matters where you sit. If you sit in the middle of the room versus more closer to a wall, those things matter. And we could help you with that if you could give us a little, you know, crappy Microsoft Paint diagram. A lot of people do that. Mateus is saying, to be clear, you were the reason I shipped those rhythmics to my country. I really like your reviews, but I just started to question their value when there is an audible problem and you don't hear it. Well, Mateus, consider that in your room, the problem perhaps could be exaggerated, or consider that your hearing is perhaps very sensitive to that specific thing, right? Not everyone has the same hearing. Not everyone has the same room. I'll give you an example. Richard's not in here anymore. Richard was in the chat a lot earlier. Richard's also in my Discord. Richard's hearing is really sensitive to the way drums are reproduced by speakers. And he can hear these timing issues that no one else can hear. And in my Discord, he was talking about it, and no one knew what he was talking about. Everyone was telling him he was crazy. Well, they weren't telling him he was crazy, but no one else could hear it. And then you know what's funny? Sean from Zero Fidelity read that, and he called me, and he's like, hey, that guy's right. The specific speaker he's talking about and that issue he's talking about is true. He's correct. But most people can't hear it. That man has he has a very specific strength in a very specific part of sound that allows him to pick up on that. And possibly his room may exaggerate that also at the same time. So to him, it's very obvious, right? Like that's how I am with bass overall. I hear stuff in bass a lot of people don't hear, right? My room is fairly perfect though. My room hardly has any issues. You know what I mean? So not everyone experiences the same things. You know, some people got tons of standing waves. Some people don't. I've been to some people's house. They have the biggest phase issues ever and they don't even notice. You know what it's a lot like? You guys know the soap opera effect TVs produce when you have that smoothing turned up too high? Most of us audiophiles hate it. We notice it. But you go to a friend's house or a family member's house and that thing is set up for maximum smoothness. Everything looks so fake and they don't even notice. Their eyes are just not sensitive to motion handling on the TV. Whereas it seems like a lot of audiophiles' eyes are a little more sensitive to motion handling. So yeah, you gotta realize, Mateus, the room is a huge factor. It's a huge factor. Like there's people that have left comments on my video saying your whole review is pointless because no one has the same room. And there's some truth to that. There is some truth to that. I wouldn't say my whole review is pointless. I try to give people a general idea, but products can sound really different in different rooms, really different. DR says could be creating a null. Yeah, it could be anything, man. It could be anything. But you got to realize too, Mateus, my Discord is full of rhythmic users. No one else is experiencing this. No one else. So again, it could be specific to your room, your setup, your particular hearing sensitivities and such. But either way, you got it solved. So that's good. C-May blows my mind with that others don't notice the soap opera effect. Yeah, it looks horrible. Pretty much in all instances. I strongly agree. It is horrendous to look at. I have a friend, he just moved. I went to his house to help him set up his stereo. And not only was his soap opera effect maxed out, his TV was set to like that dynamic mode that they use at Best Buy, where all the colors are like crazy bright, artificially boosted. Everything looks like a super bright cartoon. And I was like, bro, you like your TV like this? And he's like, I fucking love it. So people are different. Guys, get those questions out. I maybe got 2 more minutes in me. This chair is not comfortable. Ria says, hey, me again. So my E50s, yep, obsessed to the point where they may replace my Spendor D7.2's floor standards. Is that mad? Look, there's no accounting for taste. If you like it, you like it. Who cares? I know you like that Spendor sound too, but the E50s are kicking their butt. I haven't heard the floor standing Spendors. I love the classic 3.1s, but I don't know anything about the D7.2. But look, I've said it a million times. The Bucard S400 Mark II are my favorite speakers. They're $2,500 roughly, $2,300 maybe, depends on the exchange rate. I own speakers much more expensive. I own speakers that are way better than the S400 Mark II. But I love the S400 Mark II. It's the sound I like. Personal taste is the most important factor in this hobby. The product does have to be high quality as well. High quality enough for your taste, right? But then the tuning, the voicing if that is to your personal taste, you will feel the product is better than something that is more expensive for sure. Taste is the most important thing, guys. Okay. That's a wrap. Yeah, that's a wrap, guys. I don't see anything else coming through. What are we at? 134 minutes. Yeah. Yeah, hop in the free Discord if you guys got any questions about stuff that is very unique for room setup, where we could see your room. You could post a picture, stuff like that. So everyone's saying thank you in the chat. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. This was a great stream. You know, we had a lot of people in here. You guys did a ton of super chats. Again, I really appreciate that. You don't have to do that. I'll answer everyone's question, whether you pay me or not. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I hope you guys all enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Shout out to people that tuned in from other countries, you know, or I'm sure there's a ton of you out there that didn't participate in the chat, but you're just listening to it in the background while you're cleaning your home maybe, or washing some dishes or doing some other chores. I appreciate you guys also, even if you didn't say anything. So anyways, take care, guys, and everyone have a good day.